I could chat on and on forever, but tell us a little bit about your background, my love, and we'll start from there.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and thanks so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, I mean, my kind of formal training is as an engineer, right? So I got a mechanical engineering degree. I went on to specialize in biomedical engineering. I got my PhD in that, and so I was sort of just like chugging along. Building my career, building out my expertise. And I always knew that I wanted to have a family. So I had my first son when I was 33, I think. And yeah, here in Canada, so I'm in Calgary, Canada, and it's pretty standard for to take a year of maternity leave. So I took a year off, and I was like, it was always my plan to go back. And then yeah, we had everything lined up. We had full-time childcare that we were really happy with. And I went back to work after that year off. And that specific transition, like that was so hard for me. And I wasn't expecting it at all. I wasn't, no one had really talked to me about it. I just kind of thought it was going to be like fine. I was like, oh, I'm going to work for 8 hours a day. My son's going to be in childcare for 8 hours a day, like easy. And it definitely was not.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and I felt really alone in my experience of that as well. Like, I was like, how is everybody else doing this? And like, why is nobody talking about this? And I say that like, my job was relatively flexible. I had a very supportive supervisor. Same with my husband's. My husband's family lives in town, so we have in-town support, reliable, affordable childcare. And despite like all of that, it was
Yeah.
still so hard. So I was back to work for about a year between my two boys. And yeah, really just like that year, I was just living in survival mode, which really was kind of just this pattern of like just trying to get through the week. Like that was kind of the pattern. Like, let's just get through the week to get to the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I was like, this just isn't really the way that I want to continue to live. And I couldn't see things getting any easier with another child on the way and just yeah. So
How far apart are your boys?
they're about 2 years apart.
They're about 2 years apart. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went back to
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
after a year, and then you got pregnant that first year back.
Yes, exactly. So I was back to work for a few months before I got pregnant. So I was back maybe 3 or 4 months and then I was pregnant again.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I guess that adds to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, number one, like, because I'm here in the US and I'm like, a year of maternity leave, that is unheard of, right?
I know.
And so
I
I think
know.
that is number one is amazing because I think the
Yeah.
transition into motherhood, if you could have that first year with your child, I mean, oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. Yeah.
But what was so hard? Like, can you be a bit more specific? Like, what was so hard when you were going back? Like, what were you feeling, or what was the mindset? Like, what was the hard?
I mean, well, so yeah, I kind of anticipated like that first, month or so. Obviously, it's a huge transition for the entire family, right?
Mhm.
Like, and also my first son was born in COVID. So we were just like, we were together all of the time.
Yeah.
And then all of the sudden, you're like, okay, now we're going to spend the majority of our days apart, right? So obviously, there was huge like separation anxiety for both of us, having someone else care for your child, right? Like it's a big transition.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like, even just the mornings are so different. You don't have to just care for yourself, right? It's like you've got to get yourself ready, you've got to get your child ready. It's like it's just like it's rush, it's chaos. And you know how it is trying to get a toddler out the door, right? Like and you're like, I gotta like get to the office on time
Yeah.
and then you have this huge emotional separation from your child, like, and most days I would show up at work and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like it's only 9 and like I feel like I've already lived a whole day.
Wow.
And now I have to work and then you finish your work day and you're like, it was like, okay, now like second shift, right? Now I've got to pick up my child who's been missing me all day. They just want to spend time with me, but I also have to get dinner on the table and it's just like a lot, like
Yeah.
go, go, go.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And so, yeah, it's like the week didn't feel very spacious. It was
Yeah.
kind of just like, yeah, go, 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 go. And then, yeah, it was kind of like, okay, Saturday, maybe we can like relax a little bit, have family time. And then already on Sunday, I could feel it creeping in. It's like,
Mm.
okay, what do we need to do to get ready to get through another week?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
To
that was
get
my
through.
experience of it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah, that's wild. I mean, I could see like it is tough getting a toddler ready. And I mean, I've always like, I shouldn't say always, but for over a decade, I worked for myself and, I work in my upstairs office. But,
Hmm.
the biggest shock for me was um, just the identity of being independent, having my autonomy. My identity was really wrapped in success, not being able to sleep, have a good night's sleep,
Hmm.
all of those things, and just being needed like all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, we did couples counseling after like in the newborn years because I'm like, I need
Yeah.
my partner to understand why I might be acting the way I'm acting, why I'm feeling the
Hmm.
way I'm feeling, overly
Yeah.
emotional, and why I feel a bit resentful of how
Yes.
nothing's changing with you. It doesn't seem like on the outside
Right.
at least, and everything's changing with me. So,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I totally hear you there. And like the success piece too. Like I really felt like in that year there was this tension of like, I was like, I feel like I'm not showing up at work how I want to, and I'm not showing up at home how I want to. And then you just like feel like, yeah, like a failure. Like it's like, okay, well, I'm not doing either of these things how I want to. So like that kind of sucks.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's dive into that because I read, by the way, I just saw your new website. It's gorgeous. Well, I actually saw it not long ago, but I was actually looking through it today. I'm like, this is beautiful. And your
Thank you.
messaging to me seems very clear and yet like unique, right? It's almost like
Mm.
you're giving women permission to um like not be the same person who they were before, especially with
Hmm.
someone with
Hmm.
like, high profile jobs like engineering,
Hmm.
physicians, like positions
Hmm.
like that. Can you share a little bit about, what because obviously you got into doing what you do and you can talk more about that
Hmm.
because you were probably just your very first client, right?
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think like for me, it was like I very much felt like I followed what I believed to be the path to success,
Yeah.
right? Like I was a grade A student all my life. And yeah, I was like I went into engineering not because it was something that I was like passionate about, but it was like I was very good at math and science. My
Mm,
dad was an engineer, my brother was an engineer, and it was like, yeah, engineering is a great choice. You're gonna have a great career, right? And I was like, okay, great,
yeah.
So I just like I checked all the boxes. I did all the right things. I had a great career, a great paycheck, a beautiful family, a home, like, and then yeah, motherhood just really changed things for me. And I talked a lot about sort of the how I found just like working full time challenging, but the other piece of it was just like this realization that came quite early on of like, if I'm going to be spending this time away from my child, like this, my work really has to mean something to me. Like, and I was
Yeah.
finding at that point, my work was more draining me, instead of giving me energy that I could then give back to my family. So it was just kind of this unraveling of like, oh, maybe the success that society told me was success, or the influences around me told me was a successful life, like it's not, it doesn't actually feel successful anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. Maybe it looks great on the outside, but it doesn't feel good inside.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, motherhood changes those things for you, right? It changes your values, it changes your priorities. There's lots of shifts that happen. And I think that, a term that I learned recently, matrixence, is this developmental process of becoming a mother, and it takes 2 to 3 years, right? And it's
Wow.
similar. So you can hear the similarity to the word adolescence, right? We know
Mm,
adolescence is this couple year period during someone's life where they're not really the same person on the other side of it, right? They're going through lots and lots of changes.
hmm
It's the same thing with matrixence. It's like, but I think we're given this message that it's like, there's this whole bounce back culture, right? How quickly can you get your body back? How quickly can you get back to work? How quickly
hmm
can you get back to your social life? And it's like, no, actually, that's not the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We're supposed to change. And I think the more that we resist that, the harder it can be.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And I remember my daughter's 2.5, Emily, and I remember like yesterday how I fought really hard that first year to keep things, my coaching practice or business the way it was,
Mhm,
continuing because I had a Facebook group at the time that I was active in 7 days a week all the time.
mhm,
I was still trying to do Facebook Lives every day. I was still trying to
mhm,
coach anywhere from 15 to 20 clients every week. Maybe I would have a week off, but I would
Wow.
try to line it up that way to where I had that week off.
Yeah.
Because with my work, it's 3 month program, 3 weeks on, a week off, 3 months, on, then there's a break. So I was able to align that. And I was like, oh, this is going to
Mhm,
change everything. Having that week break.
mhm.
No, it actually is going to change everything.
Yeah.
And just always feeling the need to be showing up on social media. Social media to me was Facebook. That's where I built
Mhm,
my coaching business from the ground up. And I'm
mhm.
like, well, I kind of built a little trap here because this is like a 7 day a week thing. And it was so
Right.
easy to do without a child. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, this popped up for me. I'm curious, did you enjoy your job and your work and your life before you had your child, or were you kind of just trying to play the game?
I thought I did. I wasn't like, there was no, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm adulting, right? Like, this
Mm,
is, yeah, I'm doing, and I mean, yeah, biomedical engineering is cool, right? It's like, it's applying engineering principles to the human body and understanding the human body, which is super cool. But you know what? And so when I was in it, I was like, yeah, it was great. And I was more than willing to follow the model of like, it works for me to trade 40 hours of my week in exchange for a good paycheck and have 3 or 4 weeks of vacation a year and have my weekends. Like, it worked for me
yeah.
before kids, right?
hmm
Um, but yeah, when I look back now, it's like I wouldn't have identified it at the time, but when I reflect back, I was totally living on autopilot, right? Like, I was kind of just like going through the motions without a ton of intentionality,
hmm
and more so, yeah, just it was a pattern of like chasing the next thing, chasing the next award, chasing the next recognition, like
hmm
making sure in this pattern, definitely of like trying to prove myself
hmm
to others, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, so my career before coaching was in finance, and I did that for about a decade. And then I got burned out from that. And then I got help from a life coach for a year. She helped me to
Hmm.
completely transform my life. And I'm like, I think I can do this. And I want to do this. I want to help other women.
Yeah.
And I felt really proud of that. And I transitioned. And, but I kind of created the same type of cycle without knowing it at the time when I, becoming
Hmm.
a mother, and I realized it actually just within the last year. But I was still trying to prove myself, my worth,
Hmm. Hmm.
my expertise, like
Hmm.
really just like a lot of my personal life experience and, the guidance I got through it and how I created a more fulfilling life. But I was still hustling probably just as much
Hmm.
to keep up the appearance, right? Was showing
Yeah.
up consistently in that Facebook
Hmm.
group, posting a bunch of stuff on Instagram. And really, if I'm being honest, and I feel okay to say this because I'll take ownership in it and it's not who I am anymore. But if I'm being honest, I feel like my goal first was how many clients can I enroll?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that was my intention.
Hmm.
A lot of times looking back, and it wasn't even like, of course, I wanted to do the work with them, the deep work, but also just as much on my mind was, all right, new clients, let's go, let's build this
Hmm.
big.
Hmm.
And now I look back and I'm like, there's, I don't want to say I turn away people, but there's so many calls that I shouldn't say so many, but I'm just more so, what's the word? Discerning now
Hmm.
of who am I going to spend the next 3 to 6 months to a year plus with?
Hmm.
Right? Is it a good match? And do I have the capacity for it?
Yeah.
Like at this stage, I have the capacity for 5 one-to-one clients,
Hmm.
nowhere near 20 now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
doing retreats, a couple times a year.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, rambling on, but I share that because I like what's coming up for you as I talk about that,
Yes. What comes up for me is that, um, oh, it's right there.
if anything.
No, so yes, so I know I talk a lot about like, like systems and structures and that, for me, like kind of the rigid 40-hour work week just didn't work once I had a family. And so there was that, but then also when I think about like, so that year back to work in between, obviously, so many sick days with my child. Like I
Wow.
think my son was out of daycare more than he was in. And I remember feeling so much guilt when I would have to like take time off of work to care for my sick child.
Wow.
And when I think back, right? So it's like, I mean, yeah, he was like 1.5. So you can't really work like maybe when they're sleeping, right?
Mhm.
But he wasn't the type of child who could entertain himself at 1.5. Um, but
Oh, are
yeah,
there
so
kids
it's
that do that for long
I
periods
don't
of
know.
time? I'm
I
just
don't
curious.
know. Maybe I don't know. Um, but yeah, so then it's like, I would spend all day caring for a sick child, and then as soon as he's in bed, it's like pull out my laptop to
Yeah.
like catch up, right? And like be apologizing to everybody. But then when I look back again, I'm like, that pressure it wasn't coming from my supervisors, my bosses. I was like, it was
Mm.
all coming from me. There was no one like beating down my back. It was all coming from me. So that was coming from a place of like, yeah, again, of like proving and not enoughness. And, whereas like when I think about it now, it's like, I don't know. I guess I wish I knew then what I know now. And like, I'm sorry, my child is sick. I'm taking the day off and I'll see you when he's better, like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I didn't have the ability to do that back then and feel okay about myself.
Yeah, yeah. And, I'm just thinking about some of the moms watching now. They're, some of you might be saying, yeah, and it must be really nice to be able to do that now. And it's like, because I know some people, they are that 9 to 5. I have a lot of friends. One I just went over to dinner with the other day, she had our family over, and it's like, I told her, I'm like, my love, I don't know how you do it. Especially now with the second baby. I'm like working full time and I'm like, she's like, I don't know how I do it either. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it baffles me, but it's like and I think about it and it's like it's not like the money, like they don't need the money, but I know it's not like I also see like her point of view. She's like, but I want to stay in the workforce. Things are changing
Hmm.
so much in her field and she wants to be on top of it for when her kids do go back, right? And she hasn't had a calling outside of that, like you, me, and like many other people.
Hmm.
And I respect that. And yeah, I mean, I really respect that. And I'm also like, wow, like strength, to be able to do that.
Mm.
And I mean, there is flexibility with her schedule. And I'm just thinking about another mom too that I had a play date with not long ago. And I'm like, these are moms in the neighborhood. These are new kind of like play dates, right? So I'm not gonna coach Pride Nikki there, right? It's
Hmm.
inappropriate. Although I really, really want to. I'm like, let me take my time, right? Over time, the relationship built and all that. And I'm just always curious of what is it? Is it the programming? Is it the like the childhood programming, the societal programming? What is it? What is it
Yeah.
that keeps us literally suffering
Yes.
and having things be a lot harder? I'm not saying that they have to be, but I know there's flexibility there as far as time
Hmm.
goes and
Hmm.
finances and all the things. So it's just it baffles me sometimes. But
Yeah.
what did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's funny because yeah, just what's coming up for me is like an identity piece, right?
Yep.
And I was very much like, yeah, like I'm going back to work. There's no way I'm staying home. I'm going back to work. Um and my justification, I think what I told myself at that point was like I've worked way too hard to like
Yeah.
give it up, right? And I didn't have it in me to stay home full time with the kids.
Yes.
Um, but now, yeah, now when I look back, I'm like, how much of that was, yeah, like how much I derived my worth from my job title,
Uh-huh.
right? Because when I reflect back to and what kind of brought me to going on my own journey of self-discovery was really this feeling of like, okay, I'm a mom, I'm a biomedical engineer, and I don't really know who I am outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was like, that's a little bit scary, right? Because what happens when I take my job title of biomedical engineer away? Am I still am I still a worthy person? Am I still, can I, And that's been the journey. That's 100% been a big part of the journey is like, can I be okay with myself now, not identifying as a biomedical engineer?
Yeah. Let's dive into that journey a little bit because well actually let's give some context here. Are your kids home now? Or are they in school now? Like what's the childcare thing now?
My boys are 2 and 4, and they're in daycare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are they in
Um,
go ahead.
yeah, and then my oldest, my 4-year-old, so he'll be starting school in the fall.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Really exciting. Wow,
Yeah.
it's different there here in the US. We start school like in September. Wait,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
the
yeah,
fall.
yeah, in
Yay,
September.
that is the fall.
Yeah,
Sorry.
in September, yeah.
Instead, well, I was thinking October, but yes, brain fart. But what was this self-discovery journey? Because when I was sharing in your bio, there were words intuition, there was human design, there
Hmm.
was just like reclaiming your power. Taught us a little bit about what your journey was and those terms.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, when I went on my second maternity leave, I was like, yeah, I was like, I've lost myself in motherhood. I've lost myself in my career. And I really was like, I'm going to use this year to figure myself out and to figure out like what's next because I know I don't want to go back to living in this pattern of just
Mm,
like surviving the weeks.
mhm.
Um, So yeah, had that second maternity leave, and really it was just like it was a year of exploration, right? Because I was like, I don't even know what I like. Like, I don't even know what I like anymore. I don't know what my passions are. I don't know, So I was kind of just like starting to explore a lot of different things. I was making sure I was taking really good care of myself. And towards the end of that maternity leave, yeah, I was asking these questions. Like, I was like, what's my purpose? What am I here to do? What are my natural gifts and
Mm.
talents? Like all of those sorts of questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I enrolled in a group coaching program. It was like a month-long thing focused around finding your purpose. Like that was one
Mm.
of the big questions I was asking. Um, yeah, and that sort of kick-started things. Yeah, I was
What did you
introduced into
discover about yourself in that time, in that program?
I by the end of that program, I felt more connected to my purpose for sure. I wasn't, it wasn't like my purpose, I didn't have per se, a really clear statement for my purpose,
Hmm.
but I, by the end of that program, I was like, I had committed to change. I was like, okay, yeah, that was the big thing was like, I also, through that program too, it was really expansive for me because there was entrepreneurs in there, and my immediate circle is all kind of doing the traditional thing, like the 9 to 5, the very
Yep.
traditional careers. And so to be in a virtual space with other people like doing life differently, I was like, oh, like
Hmm.
there's a different way to do things here. Like super eye-opening, which like
Yeah.
sounds so simple, but it really is, right? Like,
Hmm.
and when you can start to see yourself in that, like, oh, if they can do that, like, could I?
Yeah.
You know? So it
Yep.
was really expansive in that way. It just kind of got my brain thinking in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so by the end of that program, I was just like, okay, I'm committed to change.
Yeah,
Um,
it's almost like what I'm hearing is like the clarity of exactly what you're going to be doing wasn't there, but you were
no.
crystal clear that I can't go back to this bioengineering job
Yeah.
and having two jobs, my day job and then my job as a mom. Like it's too much, right? So you knew that that wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like your next chapter, you're like, I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know it's not this. And it's like that was enough. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but that's just like
Yes.
the hit that I'm getting.
Yes. Yes. And it's so funny during that. So that was like November. That was like November, and I was supposed to go back to work in Jan either December or January. Anyways, when I was in that program, so I had like 3 months left on my work contract. So I was like, oh, I have 3 months left of work to go back to, and I'm gonna then I'll figure out what's next.
Hmm.
And during that program, I got the notice that my position wasn't going to be funded. Um, and then and it was funny when I got that, there was like obviously panic and fear, but there was also like a relief. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. I'm gonna pay attention to this. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then anyways, things worked out and it ended up getting sorted out. But I think part of what this program allowed me to do too was like I was like, I'm gonna make this work for me. So it
Hmm.
was meant to be like a 3 month full-time thing. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, I'm gonna make this work for me. Let's stretch it out into 5 months. And so then it's like 24 hours a week and it's gonna give me more space and time. And so yeah, I mean, I think there was a little bit of that, like really stepping into my power and really not acting from a place of scarcity or
Yeah.
fear or, like
Or
really kind
like
of taking control of. my life.
Yeah, reclaiming your power, like just like what you
Yeah.
say. And it's like it's like you weren't following the script anymore.
No. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And that takes so much courage, especially, I have to say this, especially considering your social circle. Everyone or they're engineers or they have the traditional job. And it's like I said this to you before when we chatted a long time ago because it happened to me too. They were like, "Are you okay? Everything okay?"
Oh, yeah.
They look at you like you have like hives or so, or like you're something's wrong with you, like you're
Oh,
sick.
yes. Oh,
And
yes. Yeah.
that's the other thing
100%.
with transitioning. A lot of things change the social circle, the friend group.
It's
Um,
huge. Yeah, that's a huge hard piece. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. I'm curious about the human design piece. I never really asked you, or we never really talked about how did you get into that? What did that happen a while back, or is that recent? Like, tell us about that a little bit.
That my first
And
introduction
tell
to
us what it
that,
is. Tell us what it is
yes.
too.
So human design is a life path system. It's based on the exact date, time, and location of your birth. It really tells you who you're here to be before the world told you who to be, right? Like it's really
Wow.
like we've all, yeah, like we learn certain ways of being as we grow up, based on our experiences and the people in our life. And human design really strips it back and is like, um, this is who you're meant to be. This is how your energy works. This is how you're meant to make opportunities happen in your life. This is how you're meant to make decisions. These are your natural gifts and talents. Um, it's really a blueprint for like really living your most authentic, aligned life.
Hmm.
Um, so I was introduced to it from my sister's partner at the time, like a few years back. I think I was pregnant with my second son at the time. And it didn't really land with me at the time. He was kind of just like, oh yeah, I'm like, let me look up your chart. And um told me a little bit about it and I was like, oh, interesting. And then I kind of just left it. And then when I was on my second maternity leave and, really doing all this work of like trying to figure out who I was like, oh, maybe I'll revisit this. Um, and I started, yeah, it was very fascinating to me. I dove into it a bit myself. Then I got my first human design reading, and started playing around with it because it really is, it's a journey, it's an experiment, right? It's something that you can start experimenting with, and it may not always, things always land with you in a different way as you kind of um, progress and move along
Yeah.
with it. So, yeah, it's been life-changing for me. Even just learning my energy type was so validating for me. I'm a projector in human design, so about 20% of the population is projectors. And one of the defining features is that our energy naturally ebbs and flows, whereas 70% of the population sort of has access to consistent energy. Their
Hmm.
energy is a bit more consistent. Um, and so that was very validating for me. It was like, oh, maybe, this maybe helps explain a little bit why
Hmm.
I'm feeling this so much. Especially the combination of motherhood and career. And it's like I could
Yeah.
kind of keep that up I could play along before I had kids,
Yeah.
but now with the extra demands, I'm just like so depleted. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting. I was a friend of mine, a fellow coach friend of mine, had told me about human design. Ooh, Sasha's what, 2.5, maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5. And I was like, first I was like, oh, I don't know, this is a little too woo-woo-y for me. And then I was like, oh no, there's something to this. Like when I
Yeah.
got the facts of when I was born, I'm like, I want to know the truth. Like I called my aunt, I said, I need to know the exact time I was born. Next time you hear from my mom, please let me know and make sure she's not lying. Like, let's try to get some proof because my mom is, it's a whole thing with my mom. It's hard to get the truth with anything. It's ridiculous. But with the time that I got, and I'm still a little skeptical of it. However, I see some truth, but my human design is manifestor. And so when I
Oh.
started diving more into that, I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And I think parenting is going to be very challenging for me.
Mm,
Because tell us
hmm.
a little bit about a manifestor.
Yeah, so manifestors are even more rare than projectors. They're about like 9, 10% of the population, so like 1 in 10. And again, they don't have their energy is not consistent and it
Yeah.
more, whereas like a projector's kind of is like ebbs and flows maybe more throughout the day. A manifestor typically, as I understand it, is more like could be like week by week. Like you might have a week where you have like tons and tons of energy
Yeah.
and then it kind of like drops. But as a manifestor, you're really here to like bring new things into the world and then not necessarily like follow through on everything, but you're like the initiator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much kind of like an analogy I love to use with manifestors is like you're the driver of the train, and it's like whoever wants to get on, but like I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. That still
Yeah.
resonates to this day. That still
Yeah.
resonates to this day. Like I do initiate a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I am different week by week, and it's not just due to my cycle.
Yeah. 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 You're working
And
with both of those.
yeah, and the other thing is what I've learned or understand about a manifestor is we're not, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we're not big at letting people know things.
Right. Yes. And that is a very powerful thing for you to do, right? So
Mhm.
your so every energy type has a strategy, and your strategy is really like how you make aligned things happen. And
Mhm.
so as a manifester, it's really important to inform people around
Mhm.
you of what you're doing. And that just helps them be able to support you. It's
Yeah,
not like asking for permission. It's just like, hey, here's what I'm doing.
right.
And then you go do it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how I remember. That's how I remember my coach friend telling me that. Yeah,
yeah.
and sometimes that can be challenging. It comes back to I don't want to tell you, but I do find that when I am not asking for, I mean, I feel like in parenthood, I do kind of not ask for permission, but I'm conversating about things I want to do or things that are happening with my partner. I'm not just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to go do this. I'm more considerate. Hey,
Hmm.
this is what's going on. This was the invite. This is the thing. This is the deal with Sasha. I know you got this
Hmm.
thing. Like, how can we make this work? So it's
Yeah.
not that, can we make this work? Or I would like to, can I? It's like this. All right, can you meet, like, let's meet halfway. How's it going to go down?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I, as you were saying that too, with like initiating, and just kind of like whoever wants to hop on the train, they hop on. I feel like I've been doing this with this YouTube channel lately too. Like just
Yeah.
like with what I'm talking about, how I'm showing up, I am changing things. I've added on interviews recently. I am
Hmm.
changing about what I talk about.
Yeah.
I notice I'm talking more about motherhood. I notice I'm talking more about I feel like I talked about boundaries a lot, but so much more now that I am a mom in my capacity, probably that manifestor energy
Hmm.
is um, very, not as, my capacity isn't as big as it once was
Right.
because I'm very discerning on who I'm going to pour into or allow into
Yeah.
my space
Yeah.
because there is just so much going on these days. You look
Hmm.
like you're thinking about something there.
No, no, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. But yeah, you did mention, yeah, feeling potentially challenged with that energy type as a parent. And yeah, because for manifestors, it's really like having your own space and time to kind of be
Yeah.
in your flow is really important too. So like making sure that you have that uninterrupted time is really
Yeah.
important for you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And when that is interrupted, oh boy, do I snap. I get short.
Yeah. Angry. Do you
I
feel
get
anger?
angry. I
Yeah.
do. I get angry because I'm
Yeah.
like, these creative ideas don't just
Yeah.
pop in willy-nilly all the time.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
very rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
So
husband
even
is,
like being able to communicate that to your husband, right? Like it's like this
hmm
is the way that I'm designed and it's likely different from him, right? I
hmm
feel like in
very.
families and relationships, human design can be so supportive because it's like, "Oh, okay, like that's how you operate. Got it. How can I
Mhm.
support you in that?" Right? Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing your family's human design is incredible.
Yes, yes. I know that Andre is a man no, not manifestor generator. He's just a generator. I think
Yeah.
my daughter is a manifesting generator. I need to double check
Okay.
on that.
Yeah.
Um and then we have me, right? Who's a manifestor. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you about because I think it'd be relevant to share here too, because it gives a bit more insight on, the women's work that you do, Emily. How did that intimate special evening go of this? I don't want to call it a workshop, but you could
Yeah,
tell us a
yeah.
little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's actually tomorrow. I'm so
Oh, it's
excited
tomorrow.
for it. Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited for it. I put together, yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of like virtual workshops but I've met so many incredible women and mothers over the past year and a bit. And I'm like, I really just want to get these mothers all in a space together. And they're really the ones like, kind of on a growth path, really like starting to do a lot of that introspection, and wanting to align more fully with their purpose and their natural gifts and stuff. So, yeah, it's tomorrow night and it's going to be really beautiful. It's in a beautiful space. We're having like charcuterie and wine and mocktails and it's just going to be a vibe. It was really important for me to, if moms are taking time out of their day to come, like for it to be a really nice place to land. Um, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about purpose, and I'm using human design and then also gene keys to help them connect more closely and deeply with their purpose and what they're here to do in the
Wow,
world. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exciting.
very. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I definitely want to hear all about how it went.
yes. I
Yeah,
will
for
update
sure.
you.
I I have I've hosted several retreats. I haven't had one, I think, in probably a year and a half, but I'm hosting one just exclusive to current clients in September. And I'm excited. I'm kind of a little nervous. Like, yes and no. I don't know. Like, I haven't hosted one in a while. But what I want to teach in the curriculum, it's a lot of what I already teach. I'm just going to go deeper, but I also got some new like intuitive hits on this is what I need to cover with these specific
hmm
ladies. And
hmm
I rented a nice Airbnb. It's like a Cape Cod
Oh,
Airbnb.
amazing.
It's in like the country, so we're going to be doing some hiking. I'm a yoga
Nice.
enthusiast, not a yoga pro, but I do
Yeah.
yoga every morning, very simple,
Yeah.
just for my mind and stretch my body.
Yeah.
So I'm infusing that in there
Ah,
and some other fun things. And I'm excited to do it because I haven't done one in a while. And I just remember us talking when we chatted, whatever it was, a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, this needs to be nice. The personal
yes.
touches need to be
Yes.
there. I want them to be there because, like you
Yes.
said, my clients, like some of them, they're traveling from afar, right? Another
hmm
super busy and stressed with her work and what's going on, in our government. It's affecting her a bit. I'm like, this has to
hmm
be intentional, um,
Yeah.
special little touches and just really like like a vibe, like you said.
100%. Yeah. And it's so much fun too, right? I'm having so much fun this week preparing for it. Yeah, little touches, right? Like I've made little um um like I made custom bath salts as like a little gift and
Wow.
I'm just like this like life gets to be fun, work gets to be fun, like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I honestly, yeah, like I don't even think I'm going to be making any money from this event because I'm
Yeah.
like I'm pouring so much into it, but I'm like yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just like, I see a world where you get to be paid for the things that bring you joy. Like, I this is bringing me so much fulfillment and satisfaction that like, yeah, I would do it for free. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
And it's things that people will pay you for, like
Yeah.
that people see value in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, that's a whole nother thing that we could talk about. But like it's, I've also changed my thinking. I mean, when I transitioned from finance into coaching, what, 7, 8 years ago, but now like coaching into motherhood, I feel like I had two jobs. I help women transform,
Hmm.
create a life on their terms,
Hmm.
and I'm a mom. Those are two jobs.
Hmm.
And I am still working on my programming of it doesn't have to be like hustle, like labor, hustle, burnout, lose sleep. You'll sleep when you die. You have to sacrifice things in
Hmm.
order to, make a living,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that is a programming I'm still working on, right?
Hmm.
Like things have changed a lot since becoming a mom. My income has changed a lot.
Hmm.
Luckily, we were smart enough, and I still remind my husband of this. Let's not buy that house up north yet because we're able to do the things that we can do when we stay in our small Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Let's live below our means. I filed bankruptcy over 10 years ago. I know what it's like
Hmm.
spending money living along what your income is. Just because you make it doesn't mean you should be spending it.
Hmm.
I learned that the
Hmm.
hard way. And it gives you flexibility to figure out, the next chapter of, okay, so this is my life now, with the family. This is how I want to feel in the day to day.
Yes.
And this is the purpose that I have. Like, I know I have a gift. And I don't want to like back to like the programming thing because I was kind of going on a tangent, but I don't want to feel like it has to be hard and have to really work hard and do this online thing and always be working to be successful. I just don't want to believe that anymore. Some days
Yeah.
I do believe that. Some days I don't believe that, right? And
Hmm.
it's like yesterday, I'll give you an example. Okay, little side note. I had to get a tooth pulled, so I'm missing a tooth. And I'm like, I'm gonna get an implant. I'm too young to be missing a major tooth. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be toothless Nikki walking around. Like,
Yeah.
let me get this implant. It's not cheap. It's 4 grand to get an implant.
Wow.
So I did the surgery to do the implant part last week, and that the bone has to grow around that screw. And
Right.
then you get the crown fake tooth put in
Okay.
after like four
Okay.
to five months.
Okay.
It's been super painful. I did not expect the pain and
Yeah.
discomfort that I would be in. Today's the first good day.
Mm.
Yesterday was a little bit better. But I'm like, I I say all that because it's like I give myself permission when I should be doing some work or I should be catching up. I still give myself permission to go to the cafe, get a latte. That's like my happy joy place and read my book for an
Hmm.
hour.
Hmm.
I still give
Hmm.
myself permission to just go walk around the loft. I
Yeah.
still give myself permission to, just go do something that is not like productive, but it's so productive.
Yes. I know. I know. It's such a shift. It's such a mind shift, right? But it's like when I hear you say that, it's like you're those things that you're doing is changing your energy. It's amplifying your energy, right? And it's like the what you're going to create from that energy is so much different than what you would create from a stressy, um, pushing through energy. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think the things that you create from that amplified energy are going to pay back so much better than the stuff you create from a um, from a place of forcing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
tell you the simile. Taking the time out, giving myself permission to go get a latte at Atwater's and read. I don't know if you heard of Amy Schumer. She's a
Hmm.
comedian. Anyway, she wrote this
Yeah.
book. It's like a memoir type, kind of not really. Anyway, I picked it up in the library. I'm like, I'm going to read it because I need to stop reading self-help for a little bit, nonfiction,
Yeah.
business
Something a
stuff.
little lighter.
I just need a little break.
Yeah.
And I was like dying laughing, reading my
Yes.
latte. And this one girl, I
Yes.
know, it was hilarious. And this one girl, when I was done, I was walking out, she looked up and smiled. She was like, it must be really good. I'm like, it's hilarious. But what I wanted to say was giving myself permission to do that yesterday before picking up my daughter. I was able, in the pain that I was in, I was able to be patient with her and sit on the couch with her
Hmm.
and play the cubes and watch this little show,
Yeah.
sit there with, some of the annoying things that toddlers do without being snappy. And
Yes.
here I am screaming inside.
Yes.
But I feel like giving myself permission to not do this email thing I needed to do or do this admin thing, but instead just go have the latte, read the book. I was a completely different person in mindset when I picked her up and came home. I had the capacity to be in a ton of pain. That 800
Yeah.
milligram ibuprofen doesn't help. And hang out with my toddler for a couple hours doing, again, pushy button toddler things. And I didn't
Yes.
snap once.
Yes.
That
Yes.
to me is productive.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And that's like, right? And then when you go to bed, I don't know, I'm gonna assume, right, that you're like, you feel proud of
Yeah.
yourself, how you showed up for your kids, right? And like, that's a huge win, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. I told my husband, I was like, I gotta say, I'm really proud of myself of
Yes.
being able to hang out with Sasha on the couch in the condition I was in. I'm like, I'm impressed. Like, I'm
Yes.
proud. Like, that feels like a very successful day for me today.
Yes. And the
But
more that you build that evidence, right? I think that
yeah.
I mean that's pattern breaking, right? You're like, "Oh, like I should be
Ooh,
doing this, but I'm going to do this." And then building that evidence that like, "Oh, that paid off. Like that felt good, right?" And then I was able to show up for my child the way that I want to. Like the more that we can do that, and I hit these points too. I think it was yesterday. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I really have this thing I want to do, but I could feel it. Like I was like, I think a walk's gonna do me better right now." And it's like
hmm.
it's still like, oh, which one do I choose? But the more that you can start to build those neural patterns of like, I know that the walk is gonna put me in a better place
Yeah.
for my kids, for yeah.
The
It's
self-care.
huge. It's
Yeah,
huge.
the self-care. I mean, and self-care meaning like I'm not just talking hair and nails, which I'm a big fan of that. I actually have a hair appointment later today, but I'm talking the self-care of doing the things that you don't feel that you deserve to do, and also doing the things that you don't really want to do, but that you know are good. Nobody
Yeah.
really wants to take a walk or go for a run for a half hour to 45 minutes. Not really. A lot of us just
Yeah.
kind of want to sit and scroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody really wants to um exercise or look up some recipes that are really healthy and do them. That's the self-care I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
that is the new programming. And like you said, the new patterns, the new neural networks, because the programming
Yeah.
that we did have to where it made you worthy was sacrifice your sleep. You got to get this
Mm-hmm.
project done. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have time to make healthy meals. Like both of them
Mm-hmm.
are hard to do. It's like, which hard do we want to do? The
100%.
like
Yeah.
leaning into that resistance of really practicing self-care, which if you do that for you, then it just kind of pours into your family too. Like it's
Yeah.
such a, it's such a, it's such a, I don't know, paradigm or paradox, whatever the word is. It's like leaning into that one. It's hard to
Oh yeah.
reprogram at 30. I feel like most women, I shouldn't say most, I really don't know statistically, but at least for me, I had my spiritual awakening at 30.
Hmm.
I think the awakening happens. I think it's actually happening a lot earlier with
Mm.
with people now. But a lot of times it's in that 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
But I think like teenagers, young people are like, oh no, I'm bucking the system now. And I'm like, man, I wish I was like that. I wish I started younger.
Yes, yes. And I think it's just like, yeah, the timing is different for everyone. And it's like, it's always perfect, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh, like, yeah, I shouldn't have gone into engineering. I shouldn't, like, what was I doing? I was on autopilot, but it's like that was all part of the path,
Yeah,
right?
very true.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't have gone through that, right? Like there's
Yeah,
always, I think you said at the beginning something about a thread, right? It's like there's always a thread being woven, and
yeah,
like we might not always be able to see it in the moment, but you look back and you're like, yeah, that makes sense,
yeah. Now, I
right?
didn't say that, but that sounds really good what you just said. There's always been those words don't come out of my mouth. I'm not smart enough for that, or as intellectual as that. But yes, there's always a thread being woven, and there is there is it's just part of the journey, right?
hmm
It's part of the path.
hmm
It's part of the breakthrough. It's part of the awakening.
Yeah.
It's part of stepping into your authentic self, which is actually very, very, it sounds nice, right? Living an aligned life, living authentic, life on your terms. I mean, it sounds really nice, but boy, oh boy, is it hard.
It is hard. It is, yeah, it is hard, but like you said, you choose your hard, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
That I
or
did say.
you did say, and like, yeah, yeah, it's hard, but and I watched the interview that you did with Emily Romero as
hmm
well, and you guys are, I think something that she said was, yeah, like, I'll always choose the hard of like of living that aligned life as
Right.
opposed to the hard of like, I don't know, suffering through like doing like soul sucking work,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, yeah, the money conversation is so interesting too. Like, I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but yeah, I mean, like when you start to change internally and become more connected with yourself, like you start spending your money in a different way. Like
Yeah.
when I was when I was working before, it's like I was spending my money on all these things to like try and make myself feel happy, right? Like clothes and home decor. And of course, I still like all of that stuff, but it's now when I do it, it's not from a place of like, oh God, I'm having a stressful week. I need something to make myself feel good. It's
hmm
like it's more aligned and it's almost like I'm like, I don't need those things anymore. They're nice to have, but like I feel good without those things. And like there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, I've definitely noticed the difference like with the money. Like yeah, I mean I definitely would go shop to feel better. Sometimes I still do it.
Yeah.
But I end up returning it.
Yeah.
I might return it. But now I'm just noticing I want less things in my house. I want less
hmm
clutter. It's even funny. I was speaking with my VA today. I needed help with admin things that I'm like, I can't do them. I'm like, I'm cleaning out my email list. I've deleted close to 1,000 emails. I'm like, I pay for this stuff. And these people aren't opening the emails. Let's get them out. Let's declutter it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me save
Mm-hmm.
them for getting more junk and let me save myself from thinking about what's going on, with like the emails and there's no name
Mm-hmm.
on this. Okay, if there's no name, let me see if I can find the name from the email. If I can't, I'm gonna get rid of it. Like I'm just really doing a
Mm-hmm.
big clean out. But to the money piece, I'm noticing now, as before it was things, it was cars, it was a nice house, clothes. Uh, but now it's experiences. And I love
Mm-hmm.
treating a friend. I love picking up the tab. Now I can't do it all the time, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
picking and choosing how I do it
Yeah.
and with whom I do it with. Um, but I love not being so grip tight to my money, especially if it's just like I mean, lattes aren't cheap now. They're like $6, right?
Yeah.
But it feels good to be able to do that for somebody
Yes.
or to get
Yes.
to get the glass of wine for, like that just feels good,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And not have another piece of artwork to where I don't even know anything about art. Else.
Yeah.
No expensive stuff, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, right? Just trying to keep up the Joneses. But
Yes.
it it has been, I mean, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, okay, it's almost been an hour. I want to be mindful of our time and I want to connect with you out, when we end this interview. But can you tell us a little bit about if someone wants to learn more about you, because they're like, oh my God, I'm an engineer. Oh my God, my baby's due in 2 months. Oh my God, I'm already feeling like how can people learn more about you? And is there anything that you are doing specifically with women now that you can help them with that you don't mind sharing?
Sure. Yeah. So the best places to find me are on Instagram, at Emily Lynn Bishop. And then my website is emilylynnbishop.com. So those are the two best places. Yeah. And you can check out sort of my offers that I have on there. I have a one-off session. I can do human design readings. But my
You
signature
do?
program, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, I might have to get one.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, my signature program is a 3-month program. It's called Sovereign Success. And yeah, the essence of it is really really coming back home to yourself, really reconnecting with yourself and your power, right? And really stepping into that role of like the creator of your life.
Yeah.
Um, that's really the transformation that happens inside of that program. And we do that through traditional coaching, but then adding in embodiment, which is really just getting out of your mind and into the body, and human design as well.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. I'm a big fan personally of 3-month programs, one-to-one.
Hmm.
So I was curious. I'm like, is there human design worked into your 3 month? And you just said it
Hmm.
was, because I think that can
Yeah,
be very eye-opening for a lot of people.
exactly.
Really help them and give
Yes.
them like clarity and direction on why they're feeling the way they're
Yes.
feeling right now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, one of the sessions is focused on human design, and then it's nice because it's like also that it having an awareness of your human design as well throughout the entire session, it can be woven in as well. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to share, ladies, all of this in the description as I always do. And is there anything else that's just popping up here last minute for you, Emily, that you want to leave the woman that's watching right now with today? And if not, that's
Yeah.
okay. Don't want to force it, but I always like to ask.
No, I think it's just like I think my message is really this isn't going to be a short, well, I'll try and make it short, but I think it's really just like, if you are feeling yourself like having these feelings of, kind of, is this it? Or like, I want more. And I feel like often with those feelings can come the feelings of shame and guilt. But I just want to say that I think, listen to that and give yourself permission to listen to that. And I think that really is, it's something bigger calling for you, right? Like I really do believe that. Um, and yeah, giving yourself permission to just like follow your desires. I really do think that they're kind of the compass towards living a life that really does fill you from the inside. And also, like, I believe you can have a life that looks amazing on the outside, but feels even better on the inside, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Ditto to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, Emily, thank you again so much, my love. And
Thank you.
thank you for who's watching right now. Um, I will put all of Emily's contact info below in the description. I will also pop her website as well in the comments section. And if you guys have any questions or comments about this video today, please share them. Please share them in the comments. I always go back and check. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you. I don't know if Emily's going to see you, but I will see you in another video next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everybody.